Today I'm sewing and sharing a raglan style t-shirt with gathered sleeve caps. This is Simplicity 9645. This pattern has a few different views offering different sleeve styles and hem lengths. I'm sewing view D today. You can find this pattern at your local fabric store and online. I've left a link for you below so you can check out all the details, grab a copy, and sew along with me. So grab that pattern, cut out your fabric, mark your dots and notches, and let's get started. Place your yoke front pieces right sides together with your front piece, matching your dots and your notches, and pin in place. Sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance and press your seams toward the yoke. Place your yoke backs right sides together with your back piece matching your double notches and pin in place. Sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance and press your seams toward the yoke. Place your front and back yokes right sides together at the shoulder seams, matching your notches and pin in place. For the shoulder seams, I'm choosing to add 1/4 inch wide elastic and sewing those elastic strips into the seam to prevent overstretching over time. Now with my shoulder seams reinforced, I'm going to sew it with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Also pin both of your side seams and sew both side seams with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Now I'm going to take my sleeve piece to the sewing machine and use basting stitches to sew from notch to notch, leaving thread tails on both ends so that you have threads to pull for gathering. I'm going to be sewing 1 row of stitching at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now that the top of my sleeve is basted, I'm going to fold the sleeve in half so that the short edges meet, right sides together, and pin in place. Sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. The hem allowance for the bottom of the sleeve is 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to fold the bottom of the sleeve to the wrong side by 5/8 of an inch and pin in place. Then using a zigzag stitch, a twin needle, or a cover stitch machine, you can sew that hem in place. Place the gathered edges of your sleeve right sides together with your armhole, matching the underarm seams, and pin in place. Continue pinning from the underarm seam to the notches on either side. Also match the dot at the top of your sleeve with your shoulder seam and pin in place. Then you can start pulling your gathering stitches so that the sleeve fits between the notches all the way around. Once it fits, pin in place. Repeat all of these steps to prepare your other sleeve and insert it into the other armhole. And then sew your sleeves in place with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Fold your neckband in half right sides together, matching the short edges, and pin in place. Sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Then fold your band in half wrong sides together and give that top edge a good press. Now we can start attaching the neckband to the neckline. Starting at the center back, place your neckband seam on the right side of the center back fabric, matching your notches, and pin in place. Then we're going to match the dots on the neckband with the shoulder seams and pin in place, and match the center front marking from your neckband to the center front of the bodice. Now we can sew the neckband to the neckline with a 3/8 inch seam allowance, stretching that neckband slightly to fit, being careful not to stretch the material of the bodice. Once that's sewn, press your seam allowance down toward the bodice all the way around, pressing the band out and away from the bodice. I'm choosing to hem the bottom of my shirt in the same way as I hemmed the sleeves, just pressing the material to the wrong side by 5/8 of an inch and pinning that in place all the way around. And then using a zigzag stitch, a twin needle, or your cover stitch machine, sew your hem in place all the way around. Give everything a good press and your shirt is complete. Thank you for watching this sew along. Make sure you check out my other videos for more great sewing inspiration, and I'll see you in the next video.